few lessons, and then I may carry those lessons forward. And I'm thankful for their guidance, their direction, and may I pass on what is important to pass on to the next generation. I am thankful to our Creator for all that has been created and given to us here. I want to identify some of the things in the she should so that you can all remember who they came from in some kind of even time era for them. So I started from this direction, the oldest, and went to the newest. So the shelves are made by Grandpa Bowman, as these shelves and all the other shelves are made by Grandpa Bowman. This originally went up the other way, but I decided to flip it. This is from way back. These are 1880s, and Grandma Spicer was born in 1889. So these were her parents. I don't know which side of the family they came from, as well as the little lantern, the teapot, and this is a cording candle. So you would have a little candle in there, and you had usually a separate area where somebody could come and court you or your children, and you only got to stay as long as the candle was lit, and it would naturally just run out. So it was a courting candle. So that was important, I assumed, to pass on in the family. Washboards that I remember Grandma Bowman using a little bit, and a really old like a clothesline, but it's really hard to set up now, but that is what it is. I don't remember anybody using it, but it came from Grandma Spicer. This was Mom's ironing board, the one that I learned to iron on, which at the age of 7 or something I thought was going to be so cool. Make those handkerchiefs get so smooth, because we didn't use tissues like we do today. And then after a few months of that, I was like tired of it, but it was my job. So just something from Fenton. We use yardsticks a lot. Grandpa Bowman also made all of us a couple of these. Is our sewing chair. I've held our needles, threads, pins, scissors in the back. Somehow I did end up with 2, but some of them are some of the things that they put in it for me. So that's kind of nice. All these little figurines came from Grandma Bowman's. Probably when I was 10 or so, I started cleaning her house and helping her because she got tired of doing that. And now that I'm that age, I understand why she did that, because I have grandchildren helping me. Some of these are occupied Japan, so it's 1946 era. But they're just the little things that she had, and I dusted and dusted and dusted. And then she eventually said, well, you like those, why don't you take this one home, or why don't you take that one home? And some of them have had a date on them. I know, I'm not picking up any one of them. Here's a 1947 date that Grandma Bowman wrote on it. So some of them will be dated, which makes it kind of neat. The weight scale, Mom used it sometimes for laundry and for when she butchered chickens and rabbits, so she could write on how much they weighed. Pretty common thing. My ironer that I used, Grandma had this in her house, hanging plants in it. My Aunt Velma made these, and that would be Grandpa Bowman's sister. She was a sweetheart, loved her dearly. She lived up north with her husband Kenneth, and she made a lot of these purses and different things for the family. And some of them have names on them for who they're for, but I'm not seeing it on this one or the other one that sits over there. This is Mother's Hope Chest that Grandpa made for her, and there's probably a couple things in it. I don't honestly remember right now. Different teapots. I remember this kind of a coffee pot being used all the time, made the best coffee. I remember Brother Jim, his broke, and he was pretty sad about it. He didn't want anything that just made the best coffee in his mind. Grandma Spicer collected salt and pepper shakers. And when she died, she died at 89. She had just over or just under 100 descendants. I think she was just under 100 descendants. And she had about 150 sets of salt and pepper shakers. So we all got one or two. So that was really cool. This is the coffee pot I used a lot just because I liked it as well. This it's not a Hoosier. It's a different brand. I think it's a Stellar is the name of it, and it was the second piece of furniture that Grandma and Grandpa Bowman bought when they first were married. Was that and the bed. So all of the things in it are Grandma Bowman's. Maybe a couple things are Mom's, but pretty much all of it is Grandma Bowman's and things I remember her using. This is Grandma Bowman's recipe box in here with her recipes. Plus there's 2 letters from her dad that was coming up to visit, and it talked about making sure that the one stall in the barn is clean because that's where he'll be sleeping. And another letter talks about, I don't remember all the details, of course, but Grandma Bowman or somebody in the family was moving from, let's say, Gaines to Durand. Wasn't that far, but they were doing it still by horse and wagon. And they talked about, in the letter, that talks about having the wagon loaded, and it took so many hours to do it. So that's just really cool information on that. I guess I'll add, Grandma Spicer was never able to learn to drive a car, but I do recall a few times her looking at me with a little smile in her eye saying, but I sure could ride a horse. So that was one of her things. Again, all of this stuff, there's more in here. It's just the typical cooking things you would need. And a little egg beater to go with the big egg beater. I loved egg beaters when I was a kid. Spatulas, pie servers that also had the end where you can open your bottles. Just tried to do a lot of things together. Knife sharpening, we used this all the time as a kid, I remember. So these are some of the same knives that I remember being sharpened and using. Oh, I was hoping there'd be one of these. I don't see a complete one, though. Grandpa Bowman invented something, and he was going to patent it and just never did. For some reason, all of it's not here unless it's in that box. But this had a green handle at the time, and it was the potato peeler. And this was the only thing I learned on, and I thought everybody had one like this until I was a teenager and found out that I was the only one that had one like this. Everybody else's was different. But he was going to patent them, like I said, and he just never got around to it. That's another knife sharpener. So I don't know where the handle went. Mom had sugar in this dish often. Oh, I see, right there. And Grandma Bowman always made things. You didn't waste things. So if some type of material or a shirt or whatever it happened to be to begin with, I don't know. This was a kid's clothing item. I do recall that. If it got a stain in it, you cut out the stain and you still went ahead and used it somehow. So there's lots of little things like this that they did. Grandpa Bowman was always making things for us, so he made all of us piggy cutting boards. It was very good. Very good. Grandma did a lot of embroidering. So again, if there's a piece of cloth that had a stain on it, you'd cut it into a nice shape. And I recall her sitting and doing that a lot. So did Mom and Grandma Bowman's sisters. They'd even make the edging. Didn't come that way. This was one of Mom's favorite salt and pepper shakers. I guess she just liked it because it was sticking out his tongue, I guess. Candle mold, another planter that Grandma Bowman had hanging up in the house. She was very good, had a very green thumb. This was a little thing that was Mother's toy, and she always kept it. I think it's missing a cup. It was 2 cups to begin with. A teapot cover. This is the table, and then you'd have 2 cups and the teapot. It was just something that she enjoyed and she passed down because I liked playing with it too. Just some random dishes, jewelry. That was Mom's and Grandma's. I don't remember anything being Grandma Spicer's, but could have been. I don't know about that. Some of them are old. Mother wore these a lot. A lot. I have a lot of memory of her wearing the bird earrings. Just a little brush to keep things clean in the area. Grandpa made 2 of these, one for his wife and one for his mother-in-law. So I have one of them, and they just have a little bit more little bits of jewelry in them. Different little things that we used. This was a nice necklace that I had passed down to me. It wore it a few times, but then it did break. But maybe someday I can get it repaired. But this one is actually Grandma Doan's. I only got, I think, 1 or 2 things from my Grandma Doan. But this was a necklace that I really did enjoy. And I wore it a lot as a teenager. It was in style again in the 70s. So that's what it would have looked like. This cute little bracelet, charm bracelet. Grandma Bowman had it. It was hers when she was little, and I always got to handle it, but I never got to really wear it. And the scissors, you could actually cut something with it at one time, and the wheel still spins, and there was a little piece of paper. Yep, there's still a little piece of paper in there, some note. I don't know what it is. Grandma Spicer, whom I loved dearly, she died when I was early 20s, but we were really close. Again, she made lots of little crafty things. This is a bookmark, just made out of a hair clip. So she would make these, and a lot of Christmas gifts and things were handmade, So, again, just some jewelry. This is from St. Jude's Church in Fenton, and both Grandma and Grandpa were very instrumental in keeping that church going and running and doing things. And Grandpa was even the one that got to put the shovel in the ground when they broke ground for the new addition. And that just signifies it. That's what passed out at that time from St. Jude's. This was Grandma Bowman. She had it hanging up all the time. This is Grandma Bowman's. It was at her TV stand. No, I'm sorry, telephone stand. And I always liked it. So I got it. It still works. I just randomly use it. But the telephone area had its own little rocker chair, which we actually have. I think Melissa has it right now. And of course, it was the old phone with the dial. And it was fun. The picture behind here, I don't remember for sure, but there was a laundry soap company. I think it was All I'm not totally sure. I suppose I could look it up someday and write it out. But when I was a young teenager, what they would do is every time you bought a box of laundry soap, there'd be a coupon in it. And once you got so many coupons built up, you could turn it in for a gift. So mom and grandma were both pretty excited when they had enough to buy this picture because they both liked it. So grandma's was bigger, but this was the size that mom could afford to do. And I still remember green stamps. That was something that was still happening. You get stickers for certain things that you'd buy. You'd put them in a book. They're just little tiny, like a postage stamp. And once you got the book filled, then you can turn it in for certain things, or you'd save it till you had 10 or 15 books and buy something better. This is Grandma Bowman's chair, the last one that she had in her home. She sat in for a really long time. It's still totally functional. The stool, all of it. You see that the kitty cat loves it. Melissa reupholstered it about maybe 10 years ago at the most, and she did an excellent job. Grandma's stand that was next to her chair, and the wastebasket that was next to her chair. Tried to kind of rebuild it in one sense. Grandpa Bowman we made lots of candles in our family, so Grandpa Bowman would make candle stands out of old legs. Like somebody would be throwing out a table, and he'd go by and pick it up or go get it, and then he'd make different things out of the legs. Not wasteful and very, very creative. So we all got some of those. The little dishes, the dish set in the back, the tea set in the back was mine when I was a little girl. I finally was old enough to get one that wasn't plastic. So that was really cool, and I played a lot with it. That was a handy-down camera, and I did take pictures with it when I was little. Still worked last I know. I just can't buy film for it anymore or get it processed. The little figurine with the kittens on it, I was maybe 10 years old when that was given to me, and I loved it, and I've kept it. And I had a thing for little lanterns, so I was gifted those a little bit. The two teacup sets on the bottom, even the little one in between. Grandma Bowman's grandmother had a lot of teacups and wanted them passed on in the family. So Grandma Bowman had quite a few of those. And when Grandma Bowman had to move into our home, and they sold the old home that she had lived in for 52 years, as a family, my siblings, we did our best to divide up the items and get the things that we wanted, and it worked fairly well. And the system was to choose it and put your name on the back of it. I didn't choose any cups because I didn't have any room at the time, and I had to be really, really careful what I did choose and bring home. But my sister Kate thought I would really want them when I got older, so she put my name on them, and I got them because no one else claimed those two. So thanks to her, we do have that part also. So I guess that's a lot of the old stuff. Oh, this is one of Grandma Bowman's coats. She got a new coat every year. That's what middle class and old or more wealthy people got, was one coat a year. So it was really important that she got a new coat every year. I have 2 or 3 of them actually. This is a leather coat. I have another coat in there that Grandpa would hunt deer regularly, and he would take it to Gallagher's in Fenton and have the hide tanned, and they made her a coat and gloves out of that even a couple of times. So this is Grandma and Grandpa Bowman's table, their main dining room table. It's what we as a family would gather at for the holidays. And it has like 10 leaves. So it extends really long, really long. And I still have all of those, just not in this little area. Grandma and Grandpa's lantern. Oh, this this salt and pepper shaker was my mom's. And Grandma's, when Mother was a senior, you took a senior trip, and Grandma Spicer got her these as a gift for your senior year. And it did have a little note from her, but not too long ago, I accidentally vacuumed it up. So I just have to have that as a memory now. But this was important to Grandma, that she gave it to Mom, and Mom always kept it. Another thing that, you know, they used everything they could. Grandpa Bowman made these, passed up enough for all of us kids. It was leftover paneling that they had used in one of their rooms. So you can imagine that'd be a pretty colorful room. Mom and Dad's table. Grandma and Grandpa Bowman also had one at the same time. Mom had cut the legs off of it and made it shorter. Grandma kept hers tall. And Grandma Bowman's bookends. Here's one of Mom's jewelry boxes that had a picture of her and Dad on their wedding day in it. So that's kind of nice. Then they had their they had a really big 25th anniversary party. And this is 2 of the dishes from that. This is just extra. These aren't really old, but they're here because my brother Jim was a truck driver, and every time he went into a new state in the beginning, he'd buy her a cup and then bring them back to her. Obviously, he did that for Dad as well. These over here. Okay, so again, Grandpa Bowman made a bunch of these, and they were gifts. Most of our gifts, again, were made, especially when we got to be like 16 years old or so. Then they started giving us gifts to create a home with. So you had a hope chest, they'd make you a hope chest, and then they would buy you things that were in the hope chest that you would use. So he always made different things. This one, 2 shells represent Mom. Mother made this one in the middle. She took ceramic when she was older, in her 50s or something. So she made the rabbit, and she made this, and she wanted me to have those. And then I bought her the 3 little rabbits to go with it. These were something of Mom's. Sister Kate was into home interiors, so a lot of the things that Mom decorated with were some of her things. This represents my dad. I don't have very much from the Doan side at all, or much from Dad. And that's kind of the way he wanted it. So his watch, his razor, Avon cologne, his letter holder, and he loved A&W rubber. And it's an incense burner that we all had at that time. Very common. You'd put a cone in it, and then you'd see the smoke come out of it. I really don't remember what the pictures are. Oh yes, it's Dad on his excavator. I don't know what years. I'm going to say around 1950. He had his own business and bulldozing business. So it's his truck with his name logo on it, and a picture of him on his dozer. And then this is actually Grandma Bowman's setup, which Heidi still has some of those turkeys. So Heidi has kept a lot of things as well. The top shelf over there was also, again, some more things from um, my teenage years, home interiors, and mother collected those. And she wanted to make sure that I had a few of those too. Just a couple more things that I got when I was cleaning at Grandma Bowman's house. And these are, one of my relatives made them. And now I can't remember if it was Leona. I think it was Leona that did them. And with the glass, this blue vase and one of the other items back there that I passed up, if you gave somebody in the family a gift and then if they died, you got to have that gift back. So I had given Grandma Spicer that and one of the other dishes over there. So they came back to me. This is something that Grandma Bowman had. I want to show you these roses. Here's a single one. So again, you just learn to make everything. And she did all kinds of crafts, and she also got to sell them at the church bazaar. She made a ton of crafts for the church bazaar. We all did. So this is just a seashell with fingernail polish painted on it. And then you bought a regular flower, and if it got to be, ugly or dirty or dusty, you'd take all the things out of it and you'd just glue the seashell in there. And it looks like a rose. So we had quite a few of those. Grandma loved red fingernail polish. It's a baby crib that really was used, but then we also just played with it. Some of these toys I had when I was little. At Grandma's house, she had a couple of cupboards by her front door entryway that were kid toys, and you could just go play and put them all back. And some of them were not that old. This one's not that old, but it still rocks. This corner over here needs to go up yet. I'm going to have a shelf put up there still of the same wood. And this is from like 1980, I should say. 1985, from when our kids were born, and some of their things. So that's what this is to go up there. And the only thing you can see is the red fire truck, which was my dad had bought for Christine when she was a little girl, because she used to go and spend a lot of time with him up there. The other two girls spent some time, but Christine spent a lot of time with him. That pretty much covers most of it. This is a Lazy Susan that Grandpa Bowman had made. We all had made us all one of those. So I just wanted to save it. I like it. If it gets passed on, that's great and wonderful. If it gets sold afterwards or garage sale item or whatever afterwards, that's fine too. But right now I still enjoy it. I like coming out here and sitting. I even come out here and sleep once in a while because I like the feel of it. I like the shed. It was my idea to build the she shed. It was my design. I used the lesser quality of wood on the property to make it, because it is wood from our trees, the cottonwood, which is not typically used. It's like junk wood, but I used it. I'm very happy with the results of it. The Amish helped me build it. Down here on the lower half and this rough edge is oak that we also had milled here on the property and used in the cabin build. And these were the scrap pieces that weren't nice enough. But I love the different textures and designs, and it's okay with me if it's got a crack in it, or the roof is not perfect but it's got a good ceiling on it. So I just love it. My little spot. This is an old dresser that was old when I used it. as a teenager. So I don't know how old it is, but I used it. Christine has used it, and it still stores some of the things from Grandma Bowman mostly, and a little bit from my mom. Inside, I had stored another one of Grandma Bowman's coats that, as I understood, was fur. I think maybe it's just the real fur is just the trim and the hood, not the whole coat. Still in excellent shape. She loved her new coats. And Aunt Irma, which again is Grandpa Bowman's sister, made porcelain dolls. So these would have been my mom's dolls. And this one certainly looks old because of the hair. My grandmother was named Thelma, and this was the book that she was named after the girl in this book, Thelma. This is just an old wallet of Grandma's Bowman's, but it talks about, you know, different people that were important to her that had died. It has Grandpa Bowman's Social Security card and just different little things that were important to her at the time, their address. There's a whole set of this inside that dresser, and this was a first gift that I bought my mom of my own money. And I remember that was at the 5 and 10 and Fenton. Aunt Fiona was the most artistic one in the family, I guess, and she made lots of crafts as well. So she just made plaster, and then she would paint on them. These aren't a really good example of her work, but that's what I have. And they, some of the spicers, most of the spicers enjoyed drinking, and there's beer tabs, so you always use beer tabs for lots of different things. You never had a shortage of them. It's the same beer tabs that were on the hot pads and other crafts that I could show you that had beer tabs. The other items that are here in this pile are from the Meacham side of the family. I know there's a big lamp in there that Jean had said was from Glenn's parents' house, and it was important to Glenn's mom that it kept in the family. So Jean had it, and then she gave it to me at some point. I don't remember all the other things, sorry. But there's also a bedspread in the hope chest that came from the Meachams. It was on Glenn's parents' bed, which in the house we have Glenn's mother's bed and her dresser set. And we also have a horse blanket from there, a really heavy wool horse blanket. And this is one of the pincushions that Grandpa and Grandma would work together to make and pass on to us kids. So, because we did a lot of sewing, we just did a lot of those things. You know, common for Grandma Bowman to make me most of my school clothes through elementary, and Mother made them also, but she was busy with 5 kids. So Grandma Bowman made a lot. I went on and I continued to sew and made most of my senior clothes that year, and a little bit of my first maternity clothing I also made. That was the last time I did any serious sewing. I think that's it. Okay, I also would like to explain the flowers, the plants that are around the she shed. I just showed you a lot of the things from my ancestors. Now these are my plants from my ancestors. I have things from my mother, her sister, so my great aunt also. And again, in my family, when you were a young teenager or graduated from high school, you got items that would be homemaking items. So they started to pass me flowers when I was 18. So some of these are almost 50 years old. They haven't been moved a lot just because I haven't moved a lot. They were put on the egg farm and they stayed there 13, maybe 14 years, about that long, until after I was no longer part of that family and had started to settle in with Rick, and I could move him into a new garden. So they lived there for multiple years in North Branch. Then we moved to this location, and lived in the old house, and then they got moved to this cabin. So they really haven't moved very many times at all. But this was Mother's rose bush. Mother loved roses. She gave me 3. I got just 1 left. So I'm hoping to get some starters off of it soon. These are peonies on each side of it because she also loved peonies. They're white peonies. Grandma Bowman had beautiful flower beds as well as her sisters. Absolutely beautiful. And Mother did too. She didn't have always the right location. Mom didn't, but she still did very good with what she had. And they loved the flowers that were strongly scented. And we always had fresh flowers in the house when they were in season. So that's something I'd like to continue doing. Mother also liked a lot her maidenhair ferns and her little miniature iris. So this is kind of like Mom's favorite section that I am aware of. Okay, she loved her little irises, and this is a volunteer trumpet vine that grew in there, but she also liked those, so that's appropriate. Okay, and another one of Mom's favorites was the hibiscus. This is a white hibiscus, and when it got to sit over at our old house on the other part of the property for 20 years, it got to be about 10 feet tall and absolutely beautiful. It's only been 3, maybe 4 years that it's been transplanted. All of this was transplanted in 21. So it's still growing, but everything survived and lived, so that's good. These are all the mum plants that came from Mom's house, and there's a slew of them you'll see as we go around. If I don't trim them, they get about, I don't know, 4 feet high, and they're all like a burnt orange, and they're real small, but they also very strongly scented, which is really nice. Mom had lots of Shasta daisies, so I've still got some you'll see around. Mom also had a lot of iris. So this is one section of iris. It hasn't bloomed yet, and it has a nice violet color and smells really pretty. This is the yellow iris, and it's already about done, and it smells a little bit like lemon. And then don't look at the weeds because I can't keep up with everything all the time. But these are daylilies, and these would be the orange ones, and some of them will be double. And then again, this is the purple iris, and some of them haven't blossomed yet. On this side, Mother also loved her hostas. So this one's grown really well. The second one didn't grow as good, but it's okay. The Vinca periwinkle vine is from Mom's, and I'm hoping another year or 2 maybe, and this will be just filled with these flowers as they grow and spread, and then there'll be very little weeding at all. Mom had a lot of violets, which are obviously a spring, and they're done, but that's what these are. There's a lot of violets that will fill in also. And there's some lily of the valley that'll fill in. Another maidenhair fern, and that is very scented blossoms. Beautiful. So we have more of the mums. We got it's supposed to be a walkway here, but it's had starters that I didn't choose to move. So black-eyed Susans from Mom's. Mom had this red peony that she cherished, and I've just have kept it alive, but it's never thrived. Maybe I'll Google it and see what I can do. These are the daylilies again, getting ready to bloom. These will be lemon lilies. These are probably orange lilies, and then there's a little more lilies at the end. More yellow iris. The yucca plant, this is last year's blossom that I usually get all the seeds out of it before I burn it, so I've got to do that yet. But you can see it's pretty tall. Mom had a lot of yuccas. I got a few in the property. That's really all of them. I just feel lucky to have flowers from my mom, my grandma, and my great aunt. I enjoy that. I keep it up nice. I love gardening. It's not a chore. It's a hobby that, and almost a passion that I enjoy. And I was just able to pass some plants on to my great niece the other day, and that felt good to be able to do that. So it made me think of the full circle of when I had gotten it from my great aunt and how she must have enjoyed sharing it with me. And I believe she did, because I still remember the day I went and got them. You know, so that was a fond memory. We had fun. Spicers laughed a lot. Spicers had a great sense of humor and very warm and friendly. So all good memories for me. One last thing I want to add for items that have been passed down is these were our folding chairs that we used at Grandma Bowman's house. So I have, I don't know, I think I got like 4 of these. I don't remember what color they originally were. It looks like they were brown. But then they also had half a dozen or so of the children's chairs. That's just what we used, inside or out. It didn't matter, really. But it is a good representation of the colors of, I don't know if it'd be the 50s and the 60s, probably. Probably got repainted maybe once or twice, perhaps. But I just wanted to show you those as well. The kids still use them. Amaris and Leora automatically come over and grab them. I keep them out here. And Amaris is teaching Brogan now to come and get them, which is really cute. And we sit by the fire pit in the summertime.